Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back. Guess what? It is time to resin. Yes, that's right, we are going to throw down some art resin. This art resin is epoxy resin, and this is the hardener. And we are going to be covering our painting today. Okay, so let's begin here. I'm going to show you my canvas here that I'll be covering. And if you will notice, if you watch, can you see that? There's movement there, right? Okay, well, whenever you're going to put something heavy on top of a canvas, it's going to want to sag. You don't want it to sag down, right? So what I've done is I cut a piece of cardboard, pretty thick piece of cardboard there, you can see that, and I've covered it in duct tape. Okay, now this cardboard fits, I measured it, it fits exactly inside my frame, just like that. And then it will hold my canvas nice and taut. Hear the difference? So now it's not going to sag. Okay? Alright, now I have it's a 16 by 20 canvas, so I had to go out and get this big monstrosity so I can have a lid. As you can see, the size from this Sterilite, it is a 39.5 by 20.25 underbed box. So then I can put my canvas in here and have plenty of room along the sides. Let me bring you down so you can see. As you can see, we have plenty of room along the sides to work with. My other racks were really tight on the side. They only had like ½ an inch along this side and ½ an inch along this side. Now I can get my whole hands down here without moving this piece, because I don't want to get my fingers in the resin once I get that done. Okay, now we have washed it. It's completely dry, and I have wiped down my lid to make sure that when I go to do this, that I am not putting dust from the lid onto the top of the painting. Okay, now, according to the resin chart that is available from Art Resin, you can look up the how much do I need for epoxy, and it will pull up the Art Resin calculator, and you can calculate that out. And what I have done was I have gotten 11 ounces for a 16 by 20, which to me seems like a little bit, but we're going with that. So we need 5.5 ounces, and I have these graduated cups here with the cups on there on ounces and milliliters, and it's from Prep Store. Not affiliated with them, but that's where I got this from, so if you wanted to get your own. Okay, so we need 11 ounces total, so we need to get 5.5 ounces of each of these. So 5.5 ounces of the resin and 5.5 of the hardener. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, now we are not shaking these because we don't want to put bubbles in there. I don't know if anybody's ever said that before, done that, but alright. So we are going to measure this out to 5.5. Alright, 5.5. You can see 5.5. Okay, Set that aside. Now we are going to our hardener. We put that red cap back in there. Help it from possibly spilling. Right. And make sure you are wearing gloves. Epoxy is going to be very sticky and it will get on your skin and won't want to leave. Or will want to hang out. See what you're doing for the next few days. All right, 5.5. Now, we need to mix those together, but these little prep stop cups only go up to about 10 fluid ounces, so I'll have to get my 16-ounce clear cup. Okay, I'm going to pour in our resin. Scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. The resin is not cheap. We do not want to waste it. Okay. Now we're going to put our hardener in here. Again, scrape the sides. No, ma'am, out. Go on, Lucy. Out. Dog's trying to come in here. She's just curious. Alright. Now, once we have those done, we need to mix this for about 3 minutes. And that's, trust me, this is not 3 minutes of playtime. This is hard work on the forearms. Oh goodness. Okay. Sorry, stepped outside there, just trying to scooch the dog back. She keeps trying to come in here. Okay. Scrape the sides down. Make sure I don't have any just hardener or just epoxy on there, that it's actual mix. Okay. Now, come up just a little bit. Actually, go down just a little bit. My mistake. All right. Let's bring Hunter in here. Oh, we did have to work a little bit. There we go. All right, here we go. Go ahead and pour this on here. I'm going to save just a little bit here in the bottom of the cup. Push it to the edge and then pull back. Push it to the edge and pull back. Once just like paint, once it starts going over the edge, it will actually start pulling whatever liquid is on top of the painting off the sides to a certain extent. So we're just going to go to the edge and then come back. Tedious work, I'll tell you. You need to make sure that the entire thing is covered. And I am going to be covering the sides on this one as well, so it's going to be some work. But the end results are so worth it, I'll tell you. And when you're doing resin like this, light is your friend. You really want to utilize the light. You can tilt your head from one side to the other to see where you have resin and where you do not, where it's thinner, where it's thicker. And you want to make sure that it's pretty consistent all the way around. Now at this point, if you're doing this, you will notice you still have a lot of bubbles. That's okay for right now as we're smoothing this out. It is self-leveling, so it will level itself out across here, but we just want to make sure that we have covered all of the canvas that needs to be covered. Now I'm starting to work these edges, pushing a little bit off the side, not much. Because I don't need as much to go off the sides. I just need a little bit, just so that we can get it wet. I want the sheen on the sides, but I don't want it to be thick. Well, it's not going to be thick on the sides. It will just pour off and it'll be wasted. So. Now this is where that little bit comes in handy. I'm going to pour a little bit on my finger and then run it around the sides. That way I'm not just pouring it and wasting it. And you can really feel with your fingers where it has resin and where it does not. It tends to want to drag and slow down on the spots that are not covered in resin. A little bit more over here on this corner. I think I may have pulled a little bit too much right there from that side. I was trying to get the edge. See any big bubbles, you can pop them with your palette knife here that you're using. Okay. Hear the geese out there. And then we're going to torch it to get some of these air bubbles out. So when you're torching, be careful. Do not get too close. You do not want to get a skin on one part of it and not on the rest of it like that. It needs to seal on its own time. So, all right. Now we're going to do this several times because we want these bubbles to, all these bubbles to pop. We want that crystal clear to look. So we're going to wait just a couple minutes and we're going to do it again. I apologize about how the length of this video and everything, it just, resin takes so long and it's so meticulous. You have to make sure that you are doing it right because once it's on there, it's on there. You're not taking it back off. So this is what we have. So there again, remember, light is your friend. Turn your head, follow it, look for the air bubbles, any dust particles, things like that. We want to get rid of all that stuff. We want that mirror finish. Now you're not going to pop the bubbles that are on the bottom, which is why we have to wait for a little while and then come back and then redo this. So that's what we have to do. Resin is thick, so it takes the bubbles a while longer to make it to the surface than your paint would, just because of the consistency. Man, it is really popping these colors. It is really pulling it together, I'll tell you what. That's what pulls a painting together, is resin. I've done that whole Mod Podge thing back when I first started, and sure, it gives it a little bit of a satin slash semi-gloss look, but if you're looking for that high gloss, like mirror or glass look, this is the way to go. Resin is where it is at. Just come in at it at different angles. Check it out. You can really see that glass-like appearance. All right. Now I'm going to have to torch this a couple more times as it's slowly drying or whatever. It's still going to release some bubbles, so I'm going to torch it a few more times. But as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and bring you down and let you get a better look, a closer look, see, and see what we're talking about here. All right, here we go. And as you can see, look at that mirror finish on that painting. It is so super glossy. Look at that. You could just see right outside my patio glass doors. Coming around this side. There's my window. Look at how glossy that is. That is brilliant. Love resin. I love it. I love it. I love it. Can't beat it. All right. So, there you have it. This has been an art resin video. Don't forget, you can purchase this at your local craft store or whatever. It is a little pricey, so don't be discouraged if you see it. Resining your art is also, you know, like I said, pricey. I mean, we've already gone through about a third of that bottle just on one painting. So you're going to get about 3 paintings done with that much at a 16 by 20 size, which is a pretty significant size painting as far as, you know, what a lot of people are doing out there. A lot of people are doing so a little bit smaller ones, you know, the 8 by 10s or the 12 by 16s, things like that. So your bottle might last a little bit longer. But in this aspect, a lot of my paintings, I love the 16 by 20s. So it's going to take about 3 of my paintings per bottle, so or per set, excuse me, of that size. And these are 16 ounce bottles right here. So there we go. This is looking really good. And like I said, I'm going to have to come back and do a few touch-ups here and there, hitting the air bubbles as it sits. But I have my lid, and I'm going to put my lid on it, and it's going to sit for a while so keep the dust off of it. Very, very important. If you leave it uncovered while it's trying to cure, as dust that is in the air, people walk by or anything like that can stir up dust. It can start floating in the air and then land on top of it. You will see that. You will see it in the finish when it's done. So you got to make sure that you cover it somehow, which is why it was so important for me to find a big container like this that had a lid, and this one does. So we are good to go. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was informative for you. I hope you resin a lot of your works, save them for a very long time with resin on that will protect them. And also, one more thing, the resin, I see a lot of people asking questions about what kind of resin can I use? Can I use this resin or this resin? Remember, when you're using resin, you have to use, for paintings, when you're using resin for paintings, you have to use an artist grade resin. Why is that? if it's not an artist grade resin, it may yellow on you in a short amount of time. I don't know if you guys have ever been to these little podunk restaurants that have these resin tables, you know, over wood that's all shiny, and the resin looks yellowish. That's what I'm talking about. That resin will yellow over time, depending on whether it's your sunlight UV rays or your regular lights inside. It yellows it for some reason. I don't know why. It's just not made to last like this specific professional resin. So if you want to do your paintings, you want them to last a long time. You know, any resin's going to look good at first, but if you want them to last a long time, go with the professional resin. You can't go wrong. Just do those easy steps. You mix them, mix the 1-to-1 ratio, pour it on there, smooth it out, get rid of your bubbles, and cover it. Make sure you're covered. So that's it for my steps, guys. I'm glad you joined me for this video. Thanks for watching, and remember, pour on.